Welcome to the Evaluating Books tutorial. In this tutorial, I will discuss the evaluation process and walk you through the process of evaluating a specific book. When using a book to support your research, you must know the background of the author and the publisher and understand where the author stands in relationship to other research in the field of study. You must understand the author's and publisher's biases and determine their credibility and reliability. Determining bias is not the same thing as determining credibility and reliability. All research and writing is biased. For example, all scientific research is biased because it is based on underlying theoretical assumptions and a limited set of research questions. Research in the social sciences is biased in a similar way. Research can be biased as well as credible, or biased and reliable. So when evaluating information, you must identify the biases of the author and the publisher, assess the author's research methodology, and determine how an author's bias and methodology affect their arguments and research conclusions. If this sounds difficult and complex, you are right. It is. It requires intellectual effort and time and a high degree of critical thinking. History writing is a good example of what I've been discussing. Historians do not simply record unbiased facts about the past. They select from available primary and secondary documents written by various segments of society, mostly from social elites. Historians then use theoretical frameworks to make sense of the documents and write a narrative that argues for a specific interpretation of the past. There is no such thing as an unbiased objective view of the past. This does not mean that all historical interpretation is equal, however. Some interpretations are more credible and accurate than others. However, no one interpretation of the past can describe everything that happened or accurately portray the total meaning of an event or period. So, when choosing books to support your research, you should ask and answer a number of questions. They include questions about the author. What are the author's credentials? Does the author have a graduate degree in the area she or he is writing about? Or do they teach at a college or university? Is the author associated with an organization that is concerned about the issues that they are writing about? Has the author written other works, including books or periodical articles on the topic? And what do others say about the author's work? Where does the author fit on the ideological or theoretical spectrum found in the discipline? Publishers' questions. Is the publisher a large commercial organization, a university press, or an independent nonprofit publisher? What is the mission and editorial policy of the publisher? Other questions to ask. Who is the intended audience? The general public or other academics and researchers? Is the author presenting a well-researched scholarly argument, which includes footnotes and a bibliography? Or is the author relying on a personal opinion? If there are footnotes and/or a bibliography, where does the majority of the information come from? Original scholarly research, experiments, government documents, popular magazines and newspapers, or personal opinions? And is the writing balanced? That is, are multiple sides of the argument or issues discussed? Or is the writing more subjective? The author's point of view is presented with little or no serious discussion of alternative viewpoints. The following is an example of the evaluation process you should use when evaluating books. You might not be able to locate as much information on every author or publisher, but you need to make the attempt. I will be evaluating Edward Herman and Noam Chomsky and their book, Manufacturing Consent: The Political Economy of the Mass Media. The book was originally published in 1988 by Pantheon and reissued by Pantheon in 2002. Before I look into the background of the authors, I will gather information about Pantheon books. The history and evolution of Pantheon books will become relevant to the theory of the media presented by the authors in their book. There are a number of resources that I can use to evaluate publishers. One of the easiest sources to locate is Wikipedia. In general, Wikipedia articles about book publishers are quite informative and accurate. The Wikipedia article on Pantheon books provides much valuable information. The first thing we learned is that Pantheon is an American imprint with editorial independence of Knopf Doubleday. Knopf Doubleday is a division of Random House, which is itself a division of the German corporation Bertelsmann AG. If we click on the Bertelsmann AG link in Wikipedia, we learn that it is a transnational corporation operating in 63 countries. We can validate the information in the Wikipedia article by going to the Bertelsmann AG website. Or by going to a specialized library business database such as Business Source Premier and locate a detailed company profile created by a business monitoring group. From the information located so far, you might assume that Manufacturing Consent is a rather mainstream book, but that would be wrong. Manufacturing Consent is a radical critique of the media structure in the United States. This might seem odd given most corporate publishers' reluctance to print radical structural critiques of society. But if we read further down the Wikipedia article, we see why Pantheon originally published the book in 1988. In the history section of the article, we see that Pantheon was a very different publisher in 1988. Pantheon Books was founded in 1942 by European intellectuals who fled to the U.S. to escape fascism and the Holocaust. Pantheon published books by cutting-edge academics and fiction writers. Even though Pantheon was bought out by the larger commercial publisher Random House in 1961, it hired Andrei Schiffrin as executive editor. As we learned from the Wikipedia article, Schiffrin and Pantheon were responsible for publishing the works of radical left theorists in different fields of study, including Noam Chomsky, Studs Terkel, and Michel Foucault. As the article says, Pantheon editors prided themselves on subsidizing the cost of publishing less commercially successful but socially or intellectually important works with the profits from more commercially successful books. But Pantheon Books came under ever-increasing pressure to increase its profit margin. This caused much controversy, and Schiffrin left Pantheon in 1990 and started the New Press as an independent, non-profit publisher. Most of the authors that Schiffrin published at Pantheon moved with him to the New Press. Even though Pantheon is required to generate more profit, it continues to publish well-respected fiction and nonfiction books, although in general it does not produce books with the same radical left critique as before. So why did it produce a new edition of Manufacturing Consent in 2002? One reason may be that Manufacturing Consent has become a classic text in media studies, and it generates consistently good sales. To check the theory presented in this Wikipedia article that large corporate publishers shy away from critical left theorists and low-selling works, we can locate other books written by Noam Chomsky or Edward Herman and see who published them. I will look at books authored by Noam Chomsky. There are a few resources that you can use to locate a detailed list of books written by an author. One free resource is WorldCat, which is the world's largest library catalog. I'll do an advanced search for the author Noam Chomsky and set the catalog to locate books. I get 2,367 results. This does not mean that Noam Chomsky has written 2,367 books. Many of the books listed represent various editions and formats of the same book, but it is obvious that Noam Chomsky is a well-published author. Since I am looking to see who publishes his books, I want to pay attention to the publishers listed in the book records. As I look through the results, I notice that Noam Chomsky appears to write books in a few different areas. One area is language and linguistics. Most of these books are published by university and academic presses. His other books appear to be critiques of American foreign policy, politics, and dominant and social institutions. These books are published by presses such as AK, Seven Stories, and South End. If we go back to Wikipedia and look up these publishers, we see a trend. AK Press is a collectively owned and operated independent publisher that specializes in radical and anarchist literature. Seven Stories Press is an independent publisher that focuses on U.S. foreign policy, pacifism, feminism, social justice, and civil, labor, and human rights. South End Press is a non-profit, collectively run publisher that prints the works of radical left theorists. If we go to the publisher's websites, we can verify the statements made in the Wikipedia articles. Here is the South End Press website. As we can see, the website validates the information found in the Wikipedia article. This exercise has provided me with quite a bit of information about the publishers, as well as some information about the authors. To get more detailed information about the authors, I will return to Wikipedia. I'll start by searching for information about Edward Herman. In this case, it is important to know Edward Herman's middle initial because there are a number of entries for Edward Herman. The Edward Herman we're interested in is Edward S. Herman, who's an American economist and media analyst. Wikipedia tells me that Herman is an economist and media analyst and an emeritus professor of finance at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. This is nice, but unless I know where the Wharton School stands in the hierarchy of business schools, it is not useful information. Therefore, I will click on the link and read about the Wharton School. I learned that it is an Ivy League school and the first business school in the United States. The school's faculty are the world's most published and most cited among business schools, and it is listed as a top-ranked business school. So Edward S. Herman is obviously not just a fringe leftist, even though he writes radical critiques of the corporate media. He is a full professor of economics at one of the highest-ranked business schools in the nation. Back at the Edward Herman Wikipedia article, there is a bibliography of Herman's books and some of his prominent articles. You could use this information to locate and read other books by Herman, and it also provides you with a good sense of the types of books he writes. To validate the information in the Wikipedia articles about Herman and the Wharton School, I need to check the footnotes. I could also do a Google search for the Wharton School of Business. I will now look at Noam Chomsky. The Wikipedia article on Noam Chomsky is huge. He is an Institute Professor and Professor Emeritus at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. An Institute Professor is the highest title that is awarded to a faculty member at MIT. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology is one of the most prestigious universities of scientific and technological research in the world. As we learned from the Wikipedia article, Chomsky's linguistic theories revolutionize the field of linguistics and have profound implications for modern psychology. The article also discusses his political views, which are anarcho-syndicalist in nature and are grounded in the Enlightenment thought and classical liberalism. If I don't know what these concepts entail, Wikipedia provides links to articles discussing them. I can also look up these concepts in the Encyclopedia Britannica or the Gale Virtual Reference Library. For example, if I look up anarcho-syndicalism in the Gale Virtual Reference Library, I find these articles. It is very important to understand these theories since they form an important part of Chomsky's worldview and shape his arguments and theories in manufacturing consent. Much of the criticism of manufacturing consent and the propaganda model of the media is based on critics' disagreements with Herman and Chomsky's political and economic theories. This type of information allows me to place an author within the framework of debate on a topic. The Wikipedia article also provides a link to another article presenting criticism of Chomsky's linguistic and political theories. In addition, there is a link to an extensive bibliography. Most Wikipedia articles do not go into this level of detail, but from the information presented, it is obvious that Chomsky is an important contemporary thinker. If Wikipedia doesn't provide much information, you can always search Google. Another free web resource to check is SourceWatch. It is produced by the Center for Media and Democracy and is devoted to providing citizens and journalists with documented information about individuals and groups. we can do a quick search for Noam Chomsky and compare the information that we found here in SourceWatch with what was found in Wikipedia. From the information I located, I now have a very clear idea about the authors and the publishers of the book. This information allows me to read the book with a critical eye and place it within the debates about the mass media and its role in society. Knowing this information also helps me understand the negative critiques leveled at the authors by critics. To see what other informed people have to say about the book, I can try and locate book reviews. Book reviews are published in library and book publishing magazines, as well as in scholarly journals. There should be book reviews for Manufacturing Consent, The Political Economy of the Mass Media, in a number of scholarly journal databases in the fields of media and mass communications, sociology, and political economy, as well as reviews in some library and trade publishing magazines. You may need to look through the MCTC Library database list and perform searches in individual databases. However, a number of database companies allow you to search multiple databases. A good database to start with is Academic Search Premier. I'll begin by going to the Advanced Search screen. I'll then select a few more EBSCO databases to search. I'll include the Alternative Press Index, the Communication and Mass Media Complete database, Soc Index, and the Nation Archive. I will then enter the full name of the book in the search box and select Book Review in the Document Type section. I get 24 results. Many of the book reviews are lengthy reviews from scholarly journals. Reading these reviews will provide me with useful information about the content of the book and about the authors. You can often locate the reasons why an author wrote the book in the preface or introduction. When you read the book, pay attention to the footnotes and the sources that the author cites. You may want to locate specific books and articles cited by the author and add them to your research paper. This example is focused on evaluating two authors writing in the area of media studies. The evaluation process presented here can be applied to authors of books in any field of study. It will be harder to locate information about less well-established authors, but you need to make the effort nonetheless. It is essential that you acquire a good understanding of the authors and publishers of the books you use to support your research. All the subscription databases used in this tutorial are available from the MCTC Library homepage. There are also tutorials available on how to use each of the databases. This ends the Evaluating Books tutorial.